This is a Danish English weekly news roundup and business, February 24 through March 2nd. Hello and welcome to Danish-InfoNewsTv. To the main stories, Reddit was fined £14 million over kids' data. A baby died in the Odense assault. Over 1,300 cannabis plants were seized near Nestville, and Instagram roll out new teen safety alerts. We begin with the first of our main story from Tuesday, February 24th. Reddit has been fined more than £14 million by the Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, for failing to protect children's privacy, the largest penalty the watchdog has issued over children's data. The ICO found the US-based platform unlawfully processed children's personal information, including failing to implement robust age checks and not carrying out a required data protection impact assessment before January of 2025. As a result, children under 13 had their data collected and may have been exposed to inappropriate content. UK Information Commissioner John Edwards said companies offering services likely to be accessed by children must have effective age assurance systems in place and cannot rely solely on users self-declaring their age. Reddit said it plans to appeal the decision, arguing that it does not require users to share identity information in order to protect privacy, and that ICO's approach would require collecting more private data from UK users. The fine exceeds previous major penalties, including £12.7 million issued to TikTok in 2023 and £250,000 handed to Imgur owner Media Lab earlier this month for similar issues. The Reddit case affects Danes in several ways, even though Reddit is a US-based platform. Children's privacy risk. Danish children under 13 who use Reddit may have had their personal data collected without proper safeguards, including potentially being exposed to inappropriate content. To a tragic main story from Sunday, February 23rd. Baby dies after life-threatening injuries. A 7-month-old baby was admitted to Odense University Hospital with life-threatening injuries. Syd-og-Sønderjyllands politi launched an investigation into possible violence against the child. Technical examinations were carried out on Brogade in Bredebro in cooperation with the Nationalt Kriminalteknisk Center, NKC, part of the National Enhed for Særlig Kriminalitet, NSK. Police also began interviewing witnesses to determine how the injuries occurred. Sadly, on Wednesday, February 25th, the baby has died as a result of the injuries sustained, police said in a press release. A 32-year-old man has been questioned and charged with aggravated assault against the child. Police said the investigation is ongoing and that the relatives have been notified. To a different day and case, Thursday, February 26th, police found 1,387 cannabis plants in a greenhouse near Nestville. There was a major haul when Syd-Sjællands or Lolland-Falsters politi on Wednesday responded to a report about possible cannabis cultivation at a property just outside Nestville. Officers discovered no fewer than 1,387 cannabis plants, equivalent to just over 39 kilos of marijuana, spread across several buildings on the property, police said in their daily report. Inside the building, police also found extensive cultivation equipment, including lamps, fans, ventilation systems, pots, and soil. At 3:45 p.m., a 24-year-old man from the Greater Copenhagen area arrived at the property. He was arrested and charged under the Penal Code's provisions on euphoriant substances. He is due to appear in a preliminary court hearing on Thursday. The cannabis plants were destroyed in cooperation with the Beredskabsstyrelsen, and the equipment found at the scene was confiscated. Still on Thursday, and the last of our main story, February 26, Instagram's new self-harm alerts for parents. Meta Platforms is expanding safety measures on Instagram with new alerts designed to inform parents if their teen may need support. In the coming weeks, parents who have enabled supervision will be notified if their teen repeatedly searches for terms related to suicide or self-harm within a short time frame. The alerts will be sent via email, text message, WhatsApp, or as an in-app notification. When opened, the message will explain that the teen has made multiple searches linked to suicide or self-harm and will provide access to expert resources to help parents start a careful, supportive conversation. Instagram emphasizes that most teens do not search for this type of content. The platform already blocks results for clearly harmful terms and instead directs users to helplines and mental health resources. The new system is designed to activate only after several searches in a short period, aiming to strike a balance between keeping parents informed and avoiding unnecessary alarm. The alerts will first roll out to supervised accounts in the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada, with additional regions expected later this year. Meta is also developing similar parental notifications for certain AI-related conversations as more teens turn to artificial intelligence tools for information and support. Now to some other news. Tuesday, February 24th. Denmark plans to spend 135 billion Danish kroner through 2035 on defense, elder care, climate, and emergency preparedness. The defense budget is to reach 43 billion Danish kroner. 23.25 billion Danish kroner is allocated for children and the elderly. 2025 saw just over 8,000 consultations for eating disorders and self-harm, a 19% increase from 2024. 26% of self-contacting cases were aged 10 to 15. A 31-year-old former teacher was jailed for 4 months for grooming and sexual offenses against a student. A 2-year rights revocation was included. 27-year-old extradited and arrested at Copenhagen Airport for 2024 rape in Aarhus with 2 co-perpetrators. 3 people, 2 men, 1 woman, were remanded for 4 weeks for arson in Værløse. 14 people were in immediate danger. DSB and the Danish Railway Union signed an agreement on labor and work environment after criticism of the IT system, IVU. The physical Reisekort retires May 28th. The app and new basis code continues to function. 75% of 10-year-olds own a smartphone. The average first phone is at age 8. News from Wednesday, February 25th. The Faroe Islands election is set for March 26 after a major tunnel project. The Lagman cites a lack of trust in the government. 1/3 of child psychiatry referrals under 18 were denied in 2025, mainly for not meeting illness criteria. Dow mail delays raise concern that 4.1 million election cards may be late. In-person voting is possible with ID. Greenland police warn that recording and sharing violent acts is illegal and may involve group assaults. A 20-year-old Swedish man was sentenced to 10 years for attempted murder in Denmark and indefinite deportation, and had immediately appealed. A 41-year-old chronic traffic offender loses another person's car due to multiple violations. A 40-year-old man was stopped for cycling without lights A large amphetamine stash was discovered. A 35-year-old man in Aalborg was arrested with a gas pistol. A woman in Nykøbing awoke to an intruder. Police advised securing doors and calling 114. 7 parking fees in Køge were reversed after snow blocked proper parking. Thursday, February 26. We begin with politics. Mette Frederiksen announces a Danish general election for March 24th. A large quantity of morphine and opioids were stolen from a Slangerup pharmacy container. The drugs are still missing. A 32-year-old Thai stepfather was sentenced to 6 years for repeated sexual abuse of his stepdaughter and permanently deported. In a work accident, middle-aged man killed by a reversing truck during work, colleagues notified. 40-year-old Polish man charged with burglary and endangering police. 68-year-old remanded for nationwide supermarket thefts, suspected of using stolen goods in his restaurant. 25-year-old remanded for possession and sale of several hundred grams of hash in Aarhus. 3 men aged 21, 22 and 27 were remanded for grocery store robberies in Vorbasse and Brestrup until March 26. 25-year-old man and a 42-year-old woman arrested in Roskilde for threatening a 75-year-old with gas gun. The court rules part-time workers as entitled to the same overtime pay as full-time employees. Sigga Parkering and Svea Inkasso were fined for unlawful parking fees and collection practices. eBox launches eBooks ID as a mid-ID alternative. The Danish Health Authority urges movement over painkillers for back pain. 60% of Danes reportedly use medication. The private sector sees a slight rise in female directors, 25 to 26%. The public sector's top female directors decline. Friday, February 27. Region Zealand Medical Hotline answers only 55% of calls within 20 minutes. Winter targets largely unmet. A pedestrian was hit in Valby. The driver initially fled, but later contacted police. The victim was hospitalized. Tax fraud. Fake scat websites being prepared to steal money and data. 51-year-old Susu worker charged with sexual abuse and misconduct against elderly woman. Trial in May. Denmark is the first EU country to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of HIV and syphilis. It is WHO certified. 8 youth were arrested for 2 assaults on a 13-year-old boy. 3 were remanded for 27 days and 5 were under the criminal responsibility age. Illegal weapons found in Fredericia unrelated to recent death. 55-year-old charged. 74-year-old businessman sentenced to conditional prison and community service for investor fraud. The fired DIA directors received 4.4 million Danish kroner combined in severance. 19-year-old remanded 21 days for pistol possession in Brønshøj shooting. No injuries. The Consumer Council warns against unsupervised baby sleeping in hammocks. Inclines are unsafe. News from Saturday, February 28th. 2 men aged 55 and 61 in Rødovre were remanded for 700 grams of cocaine and possession of a rifle and pump gun. 3 young men were arrested in Horsens after an assault on an 18-year-old victim. A 35-year-old man was charged with attempted sexual assault in a car and masturbation through a mail slot in Aalborg. Aalborg Forsyning sues the state for 1.1 billion Danish kroner to reduce nitrates in drinking water. Sunday, March 1st. A 25-year-old was arrested near Vindrup after a DUI chase and tested positive for alcohol. Pro-Russian actors manipulate the TV2 Nua clip to falsely claim Denmark is preparing for war with the US. It is widely shared online. Two Romanian men, 27 and 32, were arrested in Ranas for diesel theft. One violated an entry ban. Now to news from Monday, March 2nd. We begin with the Middle East conflict. The Danish Foreign Ministry issues a red alert. All travel to Israel is discouraged due to the unstable security situation. Thousands contact insurers, Tryg, LB Forsikring and IF regarding the Middle East situation. The mask office in Rotterdam was vandalized with red paint with Boycott Israel written on it. It is under investigation. Gas prices rise 25% due to the Middle East conflict. Danish electricity prices increase 7 to 8%. Regional employees gain a third sick day for a child and potential benefits in a new 3-year agreement. Finn Borch Andersen resigns as PET chief. After 11 years, the position is advertised. Coop warehouse employees strike over new labor agreement, risk of empty store shelves for dry goods. Odense visitation zone with enhanced police powers extended until March 16. 6 men arrested in Odense for large-scale drug distribution and firearms possession. 64-year-old jailed 3 months for assault on 90-year-old mother. Death not linked legally to assault. An escaped Vestre Fengsel prisoner from February 4th was recaptured in Copenhagen Sydhavn without incident. 2 men aged 35 and 36 were sentenced for a nighttime break-in at the Vejle Municipal Depot. A stolen mini-loader and trailer were recovered. Record number of over 3,300 volunteers bedside vigils by Red Cross and Eltrasein for dying individuals. Arla requests the return of 270,000 missing milk crates to reduce 106 tons of CO2 annually. Now to some Danish business news from February 24th through March 2nd. On Monday, March 2nd, travel stocks fall. European airline and travel company shares drop after Middle East conflict. TUI and Air France KLM are down by 7% and IAG is down by 9%. US tariff. A new 15% global tariff on import goods comes into effect after Trump announced it. It follows a US Supreme Court ruling declaring previous tariffs illegal. Danske Bank layoffs. 430 positions cut globally, 230 in Denmark, further reductions in Lithuania and other countries. Municipal employee agreement. Over 500,000 municipal workers secure a new collective agreement, announced via press conference. Arla invests in Sweden, over 2.2 billion Danish kroner to produce Swedish household cheese in Sweden from 2030, moving production from Denmark. Al Sydbank profit. The first annual report shows a 1.9 billion Danish krona pre-tax profit. 47 employees are to be laid off, the second round since the December 2025 merger. Royal Unibrew growth. Denmark's second largest brewery reports 15.7 billion Danish krona revenue, plus 5%, and a 1.56 billion Danish krona profit for 2025. Netcompany digital platform for Heathrow selected to provide AI-powered AirHeart platform to predict events or trends already used in Copenhagen and Munich. Almbrand CEO change. Rasmus Werner Nielsen steps down Andreas Ruben Madsen, current CFO, Deputy CEO, to take over from March 1st. Saxo Bank CEO change. Kim Fournier steps down as CEO and becomes board chair. Daniel Belfar replaces him as CEO. Bavarian Nordic CEO resignation. Paul Chaplin resigns for personal reasons but will remain until a successor is found. He has been CEO since 2014. Thanks for watching Danish-InfoNewsTv. Subscribe and stay informed with the latest news from Denmark and around the world.